Hello. I am not going to lie to you today. I did think that today's World Cup diary might start on a little bit of a different note, potentially maybe reflecting on the symbolism of Pico Lopes becoming the first League of Ireland player to play in the World Cup. A couple of nice comments about that, but maybe probably leading around to the inevitable conclusion that, well, it was always going to be too tough for him and for Cape Verde against Spain. That wasn't the case. And what happened here in this stadium behind me, the Atlanta Stadium, one of the great Irish World Cup days, one of the great stories of this tournament, and so many layers to it. Something that really sort of captured the media from around the world. There was sort of there was a couple of obviously Irish voices here, people coming up to ask, what's the story with this Lopes guy? And they've seen stuff about LinkedIn, they've seen all that stuff that maybe some of the people around him are close, but it's been set off, it's gone around the world again because of this extraordinary tale of the Irishman at the heart of Cape Verde's greatest day, and a deserved result as well. I think that's, to me, right, it's one thing to have a great result, but to me the real sense of satisfaction is that while they had to sort of hang tough a little bit at times, the montage of the game isn't like a litany of missed chances and sort of comical episodes and Spanish sort of misfortune. It was the consequence of the work of a team who knuckled down and made it their greatest day. And for the Irish eyes to have someone, a Dubliner in the heart of it, to have someone who said afterwards, as he explained, like he comes from Irish football, he comes from the League of Ireland, he spent his whole life there. It's a moment for everyone, that shared in that journey to enjoy. He was FaceTiming the Shamrock Rovers players afterwards. He met Ray Houghton in the tunnel. And I think only then he was getting a sense of what this meant to everyone at home, both in Ireland and also in terms of his family's original home in Cape Verde, where his grandfather was watching, and where you could pick up the sense of emotion around the group. Vizinha, the goalkeeper, crying because his mother couldn't afford the bond for a visa to come here. So, Pico in some ways like one of the lucky ones of that Cape Verde squad, and in some ways just reflects, their team reflects the history of that country. And I guess, nobody illustrates that more than his father, Carlos, for whom this must have been a very emotional occasion, and his mother, Judy. And very kindly, we were given the opportunity to go and chat with other members of the Lopes family afterwards. Can I ask just like how you felt at the full-time whistle? How were you in the last 5 minutes? I gather you were quite calm, Carlos, but maybe the people around can tell me how everyone else was.
The celebration was so big, with everybody jumping up and down and showing the flags and applauding and dancing everywhere.
It was such a big feat. I don't think anyone expected Cape Verde to do so well. So for them at the end, it was almost like a sigh of relief, but it turned into celebration. More drums, more singing, more celebrations.
Yeah. Judy, you mentioned like this is a story that's captured everyone's attention at home as well. I know there's been a big community build-up coming into it. Like, do you have a sense of what this means to Ireland as well as to Cape Verde?
Yes, absolutely. This week, the amount of well wishes and goodwill that this has created and generated from all forms of media. Our neighbours gave Pico a wonderful send-off a few weeks ago before he left for the World Cup, and it's just gathered pace. It's snowballed. And we've been stopped on the streets here in Atlanta by people who've seen us on that reel from the send-off in Crumlin, and we're just blown away. Can't believe it.
Yeah, you just get a sense of. I think we spoke before there about even we saw your father a couple of weeks ago, on TV in Brazil, and I don't know. You said you're going to maybe speak to him in the next couple of days, but can you imagine what it's like at home right now?
The home will be a week party there.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. When they qualified for the World Cup, I was there, and the whole 10 islands looked like they were shaking.
Yeah.
And today I was just talking to my sister while I was up there, who lived down in Cape Verde, and she says everyone was in the car up and down with the flags and everything, jumping,
Well,
celebrating.
believe it.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So it means
yeah.
a lot to you to have the Lopez name is now written into the
Oh, yeah.
history of Cape Verde and football in Cape Verde.
Go to Cape Verde. Last time I was down there in October for the last qualifying for the World Cup. I was in the hotel, sitting outside. The next, the Portuguese television came in and helped me, had a chat with me. The next thing, the Cape Verdean television, bang on. I didn't know how they know I was Pico's father and who I was. And then the newspaper came in, and the manager from the hotel came out and says, "You putting us in the picture here."
He was delighted.
Big advertisement for them.
It's only the celebrity.
Yeah.
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 I know, it's all good.
So Jack, you have to go home. I mean, this is difficult. So you sort of.
It's still in the balance, you know. Like I was supposed to go home tonight, early tomorrow morning, but I might have to I might have to call my manager and stay till Miami at least.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be an even bigger game against Uruguay. See if we can pull out another result, but I might make a few phone calls.
Yeah, but you've got a sense, like as I mentioned to you, like you've seen him sort of grow up and grow as a footballer.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we're all going on about this, and obviously it's a big story, he stays quite calm. He doesn't look. He's talking to us after about, maybe it was a bit rusty in the game. Like, that's sort of his mentality.
That's just how Pico is. He's very professional. Looks after his own game. Kind of just sticks to himself. He doesn't get too flustered. And it doesn't really matter who the opponent is either. So it wouldn't be me. I wouldn't make a good footballer because all of that would get to my head. But that's why he's such a good role model for himself as well. So it's 100%.
So Carlos and Judy, you're onwards to Miami and
Oh, yes.
Houston. And, I mean, there's a chance now this trip is going to extend. Like, it's
Also
definitely.
that, yeah.
It's
For
possible.
me, I'm retired. I have no rush to go home.
Nowhere to be.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Nice weather on here. Plenty rain to cool you down.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to return to work. I was lucky enough to get these 2 weeks off school, which are the busiest 2 weeks of the year. You know, I'm a school secretary and it's the busiest time of the year. But I was lucky enough to get a job sharing partner. So she's holding the fort till I return, and then I'll pay her back for the first 2 weeks of July.
And this is back in the Loretto.
Oh yeah, which is where Pico actually learned his trade. I mean, I don't come from a footballing family, but it was while he was there in school, I think it was senior infants, first class they have to leave anyway, so it must have been senior infants. The local football club, Lord Celtic, provided football sessions during the week and invited him to join their academy. I mean, their academy of 5-6 year olds, which was close by, literally round the corner. I didn't even know it was there. And I thought, this is great. I have an hour's free babysitting on a Saturday and get the shopping done. Little did I think I'd be standing on the side of a pitch years later.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, at the World Cup.
Yeah, that's the pretty big pitch as
I remember going to Sundrive Park and there was thunder and lightning during the game, and I said, can we not go home? And the other parents are looking at me and saying, are you for real? Like, hadn't got a clue, to be honest, but I've learned a lot since then.
The journey continues.
Absolutely, no, and long may it do. Yeah.
Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, not at all. You're very welcome.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a sense of the Lopez family mood after the eldest brother, Christopher, was already on his way to the airport to go home. Jacques was there. Obviously, he's in that quandary about making the same trip. And also, Carlos's sister was upstairs as well, who lives in Boston, where so many of the Cape Verde fans in America are from. So you can see, doesn't give much away, Carlos. He's sort of he's a man of few words in a lot of respects, but lying back there quite contented. And that chat is part of a broader piece that you can read on the Irish Independent across the day. As the sun is setting for me on an amazing day here. We actually also had then a draw between Uruguay and Saudi Arabia in the later game, which sort of leaves that group wide open, and there's all sorts of possibilities maybe opening for Cape Verde now. We have obviously Sean O'Connor will also be on top of the events in the Iran game in the early hours of the morning. But yeah, lot of sort of question marks around this World Cup coming into it, and there's still a lot of unease around aspects of it, like such as the visa stories and some of the challenges faced by some nations compared to others. But I guess today, just seeing some of the scenes, even tonight, of fans out on the streets in Cape Verde, you get a sense of the magic of the World Cup, the uniting power of the World Cup. And yeah, I think the great thing about this day is that there are streets in Dublin too where people are feeling the joy.